All right, cyber traders, welcome on back to close out the week this Friday, February 4th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Great to see Tom, great to see Norman and Chuck, all of us rejoining us live inside our trading room here. Felix, great to see Felix as well. You have Ari from before, Brian, Leda, Phil, Kathleen, Lewis. Perfect. All right, so for all of us there, for all of us on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube, welcome on back. So without further ado, we have a nice little push up, gradual, but a decent push within the SPY, taking us into the close. So for right now, we have stocks like Chewy here on the screen. It's up 14+%, but Fausto is all over this one himself from the market open. So we'll talk about at least this the run from the open. But with the way this is moving right now, we always like to kind of just start the stock on the screen. Easy enough to say. We'll put this on our afternoon watch list here, the Chewy trade. Now, there could always be a bunch of stocks further that look just like this. They're up nearly as much, maybe more, maybe less. So we don't want to build too big of a list, folks, but this is one that we're pretty familiar with, albeit expensive. Fausto was, just calling this out as soon as the market opened up here today. As soon as we ended up seeing just a movement up within the major indices, we ended up seeing Chewy itself begin to make a nice slingshot, ended up breaking very quickly under and then back over from 45 bucks. I'll zoom in even on the chart there pretty quick, but ended up breaking under and over 45 to where it ended up making this beautiful run right back up. Let's see, that was from the early afternoon, late morning, right over here. We're talking about the pullback by 9:40, shortly after the first 5 minutes anyway, but this ended up breaking under and over from 45. I don't know what the opening print was. I don't have my book map open for this page, or for this stock, I should say, but it wouldn't shock me if that was exactly at 45 or shortly above. Let's do a quick little check. We'll find out. We'll try to at least. It moved up too high. I can't tell. It's not going that far. Oh no, yeah, 44.97. You can see by the thin green line right here, quick on the matrix. That's the opening bell print price. So with that, once it did that slingshot, it ended up making a really beautiful run from there. Of course, moved with the SPY major indices, but with where it's at right now, definitely, like I just said before, we'll just put this back on our watch list here for the close. All right, now we have the red box trade, or at least the warrant says the top percent gainer right now. That was the stock that got like drilled yesterday or the day before even. Then from that point, snap. So what we'll do is just start from number 2. We'll work our way down. Any of the other stocks that we ended up doing pretty well on, at least from the open, we'll quickly recap here. We have some time. All right, so the Snapchat trade. Now, this one again, we'll do a little bit of a review here, not to the extent of our weekly workshop traders talk. For all of us on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, that's something that we do inside our live trading room every Tuesday. For Snapchat, at least, this ended up making as volatile of a move as you could expect upon the market opening up. That's exactly why we say to wait the first, 3 to 5 minutes, sometimes even longer for, a crazier trade like Snapchat. Ended up beginning to build back up once it made the slingshot from 35, ended up running up to 38 or 37.80. I'll tell you what, I did not trade Snap long, at least from the open. I was trading the AMC trade. I think I was on the KAVL as well. Well, with that, I ended up focusing in on Snap on the short. I had a line at like 37.80 on the nose. I ended up taking a short right from there. It was on tiny position, but nonetheless, ended up making the most of it. Ended up dropping it down towards 36.25, and I still left a fortune on the table. So it ended up making a pullback down to 35 from there. A slingshot right back on up once again. For right now, I'll actually just simply enough put a trend line on this chart. Pretty strong trend line off the lows. Give me a quick second here. I thought I had that. We'll go with 2 trend lines here because this one's, truly off the lows from the morning, but otherwise it ended up moving off of it. Wouldn't shock me for the acceleration going into the early afternoon after like 2 o'clock, taking us into the meeting. For it to pull back down, we'll see where the SPY takes us as well. Perhaps that can, boost or lift Snapchat up higher towards 40. Looks like it was kind of holding this trend line pretty nicely off the lows, going into 2 o'clock. All right, so I wrote earlier on the Snapchat trade, at least here, that it's worth watching at 40. I mean, I said that at 38.80 or so as it's pulling back down there now. On the way up, it was. I said that there was a good chance this can make a run up towards 40, and I still believe that if markets hold strong, we'll see where these trend lines hold us going into the afternoon. But wouldn't shock me if it can make the slingshot from here or shortly after this meeting, and then to begin to build back up, to the $40 level going into the close. Pretty crazy to say, just given where Snapchat was going into yesterday morning, right? It was down like 26% or 23%, something of that stature. Man, this is something that you really don't tend to find too often. Snap is a top percent loser yesterday. Major name brand, mega cap or large cap stock, we were saying, now top percent gainer here. Pretty nuts. All right, so we'll keep it going here. Bill, not Bill I inside the trading room, not the Buffalo Bills, although I'm kind of a fan. Bill.com holdings, I don't know, just pretty expensive trade here. It's at the highs, but unless if you're doing option calls on it, it's not really worth it. Now this is more worth it to me, and I'll show Bitcoin coming up at the end of this meeting, folks. But rather, I'll tease you because we just ended up making a video that's going to be up on our YouTube channel as soon as this very meeting finishes up live. So for all of us on YouTube right now, just stay tuned for that. But ANY came out with news earlier today where we ended up seeing them acquire, I believe it was 60,000 different Bitcoin mining machines. They're called ant miners, I believe. One of the higher grade Bitcoin mining computers or devices. So with that 60,000, that's a lot. That could produce a lot of money or Bitcoin over time. So you would like to think that's some form of good news. I wasn't going to hold my breath waiting for this exact pop. But nonetheless, I was thinking if markets hold strong today, if Bitcoin itself can make a nice little move up, to which it made a nice pop. And we're going to follow that, like I said, at the end of this meeting. But if those stars could align, perhaps ANY can get the rub. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. It looks like Bitcoin Live right now is trying to make a little bit of a squeeze up higher right now. So ANY just broke over 3 finally here, or rebroke, I should say. So from this point forward, we should anticipate a bit of a slingshot up and over 320, and we'll see where it goes from there. Perhaps we'll just even check back in on this trade at the end of this meeting, but we'll put this on our list, right? How can we not? All right, so we got the Chewy trade, we got ANY, and for right now, I reckon I'll slip Snap on our list here too. It's tradable both ways, right? Actually, just a moment ago before we started this meeting here, 2 of our students ended up making money on Snapchat. One long, one short. Felix made $1 plus short, $1.01 to be exact. Felix, he made $1.01 on the long. Chuck made 34 cents on the short. They both posted their profits just within like a minute of each other or so. Pretty interesting. But that's where I say, hey, you got to love a stock that can provide opportunity to make money in both directions. If you know what you're doing, at least, right? You don't want to just be very impulsive, jumping in and out, reversing, doing this, doing that. All right. So speaking of Bitcoin, I see what's on the gainers list here. My failed swing trade from like 2 months ago at this point, or 3 months ago, even the BTBT trade. Let's check in on this one. I haven't seen this one all day. It's like at the highs, of course, so it's looking pretty interesting as a trade altogether. Uh, would be interesting as a swing trade again. I was in this like back a couple months ago, from back in early December at $9. I ended up getting out at 7 or like 7:20. I forgot the exact in and out, but I ended up getting out, and shortly after, it only continued to dump off pretty hard. Uh, but man, I'm still bullish on the potential short squeeze altogether, and that's if Bitcoin can, really make a strong bull move for another 3 to 6 months. So I'm not jumping into this yet as a swing, maybe as a day trade though. And definitely as a day trade. I mean, we'll put this on our list right now, just at least on the watch list so far. Again, as a day trade, not as much as a swing trade. But BTBT used to be one of the more heavily shorted stocks as Bitcoin ended up making that bull run up, and not just of the Bitcoin stocks, across the whole market. So, I was anticipating for a similar move just back in December. Didn't get it, but over time, I'm sure that will come to fruition. All right, so Amazon making a strong push, obviously, today. We're not going to trade Amazon again. Riot, Hut, a lot of these Bitcoin stocks just up right now, right? So just at least look at them. I don't want to add all of them. Again, build up a really big watch list. And my scanner's just refreshed there on me. The Hut trade, kind of moving similar to BTBT and Riot. Here's Bitfarms. This one we're also kind of familiar with. Nah, this one's not moving really too well at all right now. All right, so folks, if there's anything else that looks good that's up, just type it in the chat board. We'll begin to kind of work together as a team right now. I'll jump over to the loser side right now myself and see what's on that side of the field. So far, let me just get the price out here first, make sure it's worth it. Sky W, about $29 stock. It's only trading 1.7 on the day. Yeah, the order book's really thin. I don't really feel a great need to put this on our watch list. It's at the lows, so that's the first thing that would be checked off on my checklist here. But well, the second thing also is that it's shortable too. But otherwise, the liquidity is not great. I don't really feel a need to put this on our watch list right now. CLX, I didn't even mean to click on this. I shouldn't have. Pretty expensive. Uh-oh. I think my platform's starting to slow down on me here. I think the ANY trade's making a strong run. We'll jump back to that one here at the end. EAF, this one is shortable. This one's trading decent volume per minute live right now, about 15,000 shares per minute. And that's across the last 20 minutes in time, this number in white. But otherwise than that, it has good volume on the book. Order on the bid pretty much right off the lows, a few cents under the low there at 9.79. So keep that in mind as support. I'd rather follow this EAF on the way down, if anything. Tom inside the live trading room, just jumping back to some chat right now. He says AMC's at the high, and Brian before him wrote the ANY trade took out 320. So right away, that's what we were kind of anticipating to happen sooner than later. Happen much sooner than later. Ford trying to get a squeeze here. I just think it's pretty exhausted for the volume it traded from after hours into this morning, and then otherwise just pretty slow. If you do really well on Ford day to day, if that's all you trade, I'm sure that you'd be more particular about this. Of course, it's tradable, but I just don't know how much you can squeeze out of it. I'll tell you what, that's pretty much all I see on the loser side here as well. All right, let's find out here what else we got here, folks, from Tom on AMC. Nice little pop here. Nice little pop. It's up 3.7%. It's in contention. Let's see what else we got here for right now. Neo not doing a whole lot. One of my new favorites here, SoFi. Man, my platform's slow right now. I'm working from home right now as well, so I'm on Log Me In, doing it through my office network here, but it's the platform, I think, and I have two different platforms up. I have Bookmap running, the screen share app, so we'll finish up pretty quick. Right now, AMC seems to be moving pretty decent, though, compared to these. Airline or cruise line stock, we'll just briefly check out, just side list stocks, that's all. Anything that could potentially go with the market, who knows? Not a whole lot. It seems like AMC is just making a bit of a pop here so far. So I don't mind slipping it on our list. It's not up a whole lot. Hopefully this pop gives us a lot more afterwards, and more so like right around 3:30 Eastern time, I'd imagine. All right. Chuck C says IONQ at 13. Let's see. Yeah, it looks good. Absolutely. Absolutely. Near the top of the list, this one will actually go towards. From Franny, one of our members inside Cyber Group, actually joining us on YouTube today, asking about the Kodak stock. Little pop before, so that was from like a minute or two ago. Now pulling back down, so not a fan of the pullback. I don't know what happened. Maybe some form of news came out. Who knows? But not doing a whole lot since that pop. So we're gonna pass on it for right now. I mean, hey, this used to be a former runner, though. I mean, all of these bigger days, it just goes to show the volatility back in 2020 and early 2021 and back in July when we first really called it out. This is a real move. This is when we first really traded it back, in July, August of 2020, when it ended up exploding up towards like 65. So anytime that you see a stock make that type of pop, the thing that I like to ask is, hey, can it make even a fraction of that type of move, in the future? That's all I could ask for. So we tend to find these former runners pop back up over time. All right, so let me just show you the ANY trade. I'll show you Bitcoin, then we'll wrap things up. So ANY ended up breaking over 320. It's starting to chop around there right now, and that's what I would have expected anyway. Next major resistance is off of 350, but the question is it going to pull back down to 3 first, or is it going to continue to run from here and trend up to 350? That I don't have the answer to. So we're going to find out, pretty soon, folks. We'll look at Bookmap, just read the volume as the prints come in on the tape, just read the order book, is just as important too. But otherwise, let me just show you Bitcoin here before we wrap up. All right, so I got the hourly here. I may even break this into like a 15-minute. I normally don't go that much into a lower time frame chart, but you could see throughout like the last week and a half, 2 weeks, it's just been in this like tight range, nothing to really write home about or report to. So, finally we ended up seeing a little traction where we ended up seeing a bit of a dip down this morning, then a real slingshot up higher, where it ended up beginning to not only break over this white trend line that I have here. I'll go back to the daily chart, or hourly chart or so in a moment. But otherwise ended up, making a nice push up here. Let me show you the daily chart here pretty briefly. I'll just show that trend line. So this is the straight trend line we've had up for quite some time now, and now we're getting a break above it. That's all I'm going to say, though, folks, because if you wanted to know more about my thoughts on Bitcoin over the next few days, or over the next week, I ended up just making a video just over the last hour or two, going over just this exact move here. So we'll see what comes of it. But if you want to just follow that, go right to our YouTube channel. We ended up doing a video back 2 weeks ago, anticipating this move back up. Right, we had this line here right off of 34.5. It dipped a bit lower. We're not trying to be perfect, but we're trying to be more right than wrong, obviously. So with that, we anticipated this exact move up here, these same lines we had up back from Jan 22nd. So if you want to learn more about my thoughts about Bitcoin over the next few days or the next week, again, if you're on YouTube, you're already there. Just wait a little bit longer. That'll be up on our YouTube page as soon as we finish up this meeting. But for all of us inside the live trading room, I'll just direct you right to our YouTube channel in just a moment. All right, so folks, we're going to wrap up for right now. For all of us on YouTube or Facebook Live, I appreciate you sticking with me each and every day, each and every afternoon. If you are new to our YouTube channel altogether, just give us a like, give us a subscribe or a notification icon right there. Any questions that you have, feel more than free to shoot me a quick email. Josh@c2trading.com is my email address. If you're ready to join our live trading room, just go right down to the link on the banner below the stream here, right there, to get yourself started. For Felix, for Norman, for Tom, Chuck, Leda, Kathleen, no problem at all. No problem. I'll look forward to talking to you folks coming up right at 3:30 Eastern, taking you into the close. Talk soon.